All right. Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for watching. This is the Need-2-Node show. I'm your host, Zeke Dorset, and today we've got an amazing show ahead here. The topic is on creativity and how to master your craft. Wow, and the guests we've got on today are this is going to be quite powerful, possibly a slightly emotional one, I feel, because this is quite an important part of our character, to be honest, and it, unfortunately, in this day and age, I find that it's somewhat lost, or somewhat dormant for most people, the creativity side of things, and hopefully this will open up a few doors for people, and they'll be able to take a little bit on board and take some of this wisdom and, I don't know, spark it onto themselves and enjoy 2019 with it. But, before we jump into the topic of creativity, I'm just going to introduce my guests that I have here today. We have the beautiful Keli Starr. She is a mother of four, an artist, a raw vegan, urine therapy practitioner. She's learned philanthropy. She has an amazing new restaurant called Take a Stand, if I'm correct. Specialising in smoothies and pressed juices and other amazing foods. I'm correct?
Yes.
She published a book as well called Letters from God. Just so much information there, and I'll put all of that in the post below for anyone to link into your stuff there. There's so much there. That's it as well. I don't want to forget that one. The copper jewellery, which we've been seeing on Facebook. It's just absolutely just amazing stuff. That is amazing. So thank you for being here, Keli Starr. We have Dan Glanville, my friend. He's a courier lorry driver, spiritualist, disc jockey, a hockey coach, and a knowledge seeker. How you doing, my friend?
Brilliant, mate.
Yeah, good to have you on. Good to have
Looking forward to it.
Poggy Hatton, singer-songwriter, talk radio. She hosts, talk radio interviews. She is a mother. She is an avid learner of spirituality, healing, and personal transformation. She has an amazing group on Facebook, Poggy's Potential Facebook, and also has many of her radio interviews published through YouTube as well. Again, I'll have all the information for everybody, so don't you worry about that. And also Mr. Andy Horry. This gentleman's into psychology, personal development and spirituality, meditation and mindfulness practitioner, teaches spiritual entrepreneurs how to express limitlessly and embrace their embrace their unique gifts as they rediscover their authentic self. So, wow, Poggy, Andy, I hope you're both well. Thank you so much for being and sharing in this space. And the topic of creativity. So I tend to start the show with the question of what. So this is going to be quite a nice one with four of you guys on joining me here. So the question is really, to kickstart, what is creativity? Please, what is your personal of what creativity is? So if anyone wants to jump in with that, possibly. Andy, do you want to jump in and kickstart us off?
Okay. Yeah, I think creativity for me is just the flow of existence and creation. So it's like creation of reality, or just like creation in general. I think it's just, and then we can see it sometimes in other forms like artistic expression, which is creative. But I think everything we do in the world is creative, but then it's just that like we sometimes kind of separate things and say this is more creative than that. And maybe that's useful to say because it's more of like a direction of something that's really focused. Like sometimes stuff that's really detailed, you might think that's more artistic, but for me, I think everything's an expression, everything's creative. So like for me, I try to be mindful of every expression that I do, and be sort of mindful as I do things slowly and like mindfully and just realize everything's creative and expressive for me. And I think then once you align with that and that understanding and that realization, then you can bring every creativity to everything in your life, because you realize that everything you do in life is creative. So that's the way I look at it.
Beautiful, brother. Thank you. Dan, do you want to add to that, please? What is creativity?
I think it's personal to every individual, really. Obviously, I agree with Andy's definition of it, but also I think it's very specific to the soul, to the person, to the personality. Creativity, in my eyes, is more the artistic side of things, and I don't know, a way of expressing yourself, I suppose.
Yeah.
You know, my creativity is a way of expressing how sometimes, but if you're looking at art, it's how you feel, you know. Yeah, it could be all anything like that. I think it's definitely catered to the individual.
Okay, yeah, well, we'll delve in a little bit more on that. I've got a few questions to dive in, definitely, for sure, on that. So thanks for that. Poggy, what is creativity?
Yeah, I would agree with the other things, which is that it is an individual expression, really, of, yeah, I would say, of our souls. And yeah, I mean, you know, I express myself through music and other things.
Sorry, you're Poggy, you're...
Am I
It'd
still...
be an idea for it to mute ourselves when we're not speaking. Maybe we should do that.
What's that?
I'm just saying sometimes it's best to mute. I think I'll mute myself and everybody else mute themselves when someone else is speaking. That's a good idea, because I think it creates some noise, Kevin.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now? Am I?
Absolutely fine, yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, so I just feel like it's a good way of expressing, you know, what's going on in your life. You know, I think that's what people use it for, is to kind of express your journey in some way, whether that's to, as an artist, a musician, or anything that you do, really. It's just a kind of, I think it's a way of us expressing what we need to express. So you can really use it as an outlet for your, you know, your learning experiences, your emotions. You know, I use music for that. You know, it feels like a perfect kind of way to express my emotions in a kind of balanced way, I suppose, through the music. So, and it's just kind of bringing that kind of, yeah, it's a way of connecting with people, I think. Being creative is connecting.
Interesting. Thank you. Kelly?
Yes. I think that everything that you guys did was just spot on. And I know from my life experience that my creativity is just the purest reflection of my divine thought that I am able to manifest through every aspect of my life, whether it was through creating my children, the art, through just changing my mind about how I view my life. It is a never-ending gift that is always expansive. It never stops. And I always feel like you get to, because it to me, it all ties into living in your perfect truth. And living in your perfect truth with this creativity becomes a gift to the entire world. Because as I have learned, I did not come to change anything but myself. And that is that creative spark that allows for that manifestation of change. And again, it becomes this beautiful, never-ending gift. As I look at my children, who are adults now, and I'm a grandmama, it is a never-ending gift that started with a thought, and that thought just continues to evolve and evolve.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, so there's a lot of those answers definitely sort of they actually they mold into each other quite well. Actually, you could take every single component of that and actually enhance them, and that really does give you. So it just shows me that creativity is so vast. It comes from so many different angles. And there's a little bit on it I've got on the laptop which says the use of imagination, creativity as a noun is the use of imagination or original ideas to create something. And it's got synonyms of these words. A few of them jumped out at me quite nicely, like resourcefulness, ingenuity, innovativeness, originality, which is right up there, artistry, individuality, which is just massive. And like there's definitely a lot of generic sort of waves going on in this day and age. You know, you can look at many things and they kind of just mold into the same sort of thing, and it's quite strange to you just get lost. It's almost quite mundane, isn't it? But yeah, creative, how vast that is. So would you say being creative is important? Is it something that we should be taught from a young age as to how to explore and nurture and almost birth, or should birth that spark, should we say? Is it really important to learn it from a young age? And if so, how do we explore that area? Who would like to expand on that? Anyone jump in?
If you don't mind.
Yeah.
I think it's quite touching on the conversation we had last night. A lot. I think, obviously, I don't have any children, but when I finally do, I can 100% say that I'll be installing and nurturing anything, any kind of creative side of them, and trying to bring that to the forefront. I think it's one of the most important things in life, is to really know who you are and how to express that, how to project that onto the rest of the world. And I think this a very important life skill that needs to be taught and installed very young, because I think that we're obviously the school curriculum in our system, in the system that we live in, is meant to set you on a road to be a doctor or a lawyer or a business executive. I think it's systematically trying to tell us that 9 to 5 is how to live life, work for the weekend, etc. And I think that's a really bad way of raising the children, like basically teaching them to grow up in the system that we live in, and just become part of a cog in the machine, when really I think it's very important to realise that doesn't have to be the case. That's not the way you need to live your life. Like, you can take any avenue you want whatsoever. So I think, personally, I think it's very important to be bringing it into young people's lives as early as humanly possible.
Good answer. Thanks for that, Dan. Appreciate it. Andy, can you add to that, my friend?
Yeah, I think for me, the way I would look at it is not necessarily teaching, but I would say encouraging a creative expression. So I think it's natural. So I think once they express themselves and be creative, we just encourage that, and then see it kind of like support their journeys, and like as a facilitator instead of like being a teacher. I think for me, I see things as being facilitator and being like, yeah, that's natural, that's what you're doing, let's support that, and then encourage them to continue it, and just show them how, like by leading by example as well. When you're creative, then kids are just going to follow that. You don't need to tell them, but it's just that they'll get inspired naturally, I think, and then they'll also just bring out their own stuff which comes up for them. So I think it's kind of like, for me, I think it's shift away from teaching and more about facilitating and encouraging.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, thanks for that, Andy. Keli?
Yeah, As a mother and a Mimi, I have learned that children come here already creative. And the unfortunate thing is, because of them that we are contained in, a lot of that can be lost. So it is just very imperative to allow this beautiful continuation of flow of energy for them to express who they are always. And I have learned more from my children and my grandchildren than I could have ever learned in any ridiculous educational system, because through them, I really learned how to live. I really learned how to let things go. And when you learn how to let things go, then you have this beautiful flow of energy that just, again, I love the word manifest. It manifests all this magic around you. It is just endless, and it's so full of life. It's so full of joy. And there are times with my grandbabies, I'm just twirling around in a little circle, because that's just what you should do. You should enjoy life, enjoy the expression of it. And yes, they come creative. We just have to know not to turn it off.
Yeah. Maybe I think Keli worded that a little bit better, said what I was trying to say, but worded it a little bit better. It's not about teaching them how to be creative. It's about teaching them how to not have their creativity stunted by the system that we live in.
Right.
Yeah. That is what I was trying to say.
We got you, brother. Foggy, please. Just how important is creativity?
I would agree with what everyone else is saying, which is that creativity is just something that we're completely born with, and I've seen that as well with my son, and just seeing how, I mean, as he's getting older now, and he's in the school system now, he's almost 10, and you can see how he's kind of, being molded to kind of achieve these kind of landmarks or whatever. And I kind of wish, I wish maybe that he had had a different opportunity school-wise, to learn things in a different way. But when he was really young, much younger, I could see how that natural creativity was just, there's no sense of having to achieve anything with creativity. It's just sort of, you're just exploring really, and seeing where it leads to. And I think as you grow older, you're kind of taught to kind of achieve certain things and kind of, make it into something. But I think the beauty of being creative is not necessarily, but just allowing it to kind of just to explore, just to completely explore. And you see that with young children. And I would say that it's really important, like everyone else is saying, just to encourage that exploration without any need to kind of make it into anything, which is what we all feel like we have to achieve something and create something, but I think that should be seen more as a kind of byproduct, but the main thing is just to have exploration and just to be able to feel that freedom of being creative. What we're all trying to kind of return to, I think, in some way.
Yeah, definitely. I resonate with all of that, to be honest. And just to let you know that I'm going to have to re-invite you, if that's okay, with all of you in 10 minutes' time. But I've got another question just to pop in quickly. Would you say creativity is a learned behaviour? Are we born with it, or is it a bit of both? Someone want to touch on that? Keli, do you want to jump in?
I would say it is a bit of both. It is something that you come here with. And things that we are learning, it's not so much that you are learning, more so you are remembering who you are. So we have all of these things that are, to me, are strategically set in place in our lives for our most divine elevation. And it's beautiful. And I think the two are very necessary to have this balanced spectrum, because a lot of times we really forget how great we are. And you just have these little glimpses of things that just come into your life to show you the way, to remind you again who you are. I always say we're gods. So gods do God things. We're creative.
Amazing, Andy.
Yeah. I think for me, I think it's probably more on the side of just yourself being born creative. I think for me, I think that's the way it is. And then I think, I guess I feel like if we got to a point where we were more conscious of it all, I feel like it would be a balance, I guess. But I feel like now at the moment, I feel like it's more that you're just born with it, and then it's like that's the main thing. And then a lot of the time we actually get distracted by outside influences. Like some influences might help, but it feels like the most influence that's out there is like not helping. So I think at the moment in our evolution as a species, I feel like it's not that conductive to have advice from the majority of people. So, but I guess nowadays we've got the internet and stuff, we've got access to people that are really inspiring. But I think when the people that you generally meet throughout your life, it's like, it depends on what life you've got. But I think from my experience, it's like a lot of people don't support you in the way that you would like. So I feel.
I can resonate with that. Unfortunately, it seems to, in the age of technology that we're in, it seems to be quite clouded with information. We're bombarded with so much information, but there seems to be something lacking where people are not very well connected still. It's very just odd. We had less, and people were definitely more in tune. So that being said, what outside experiences do you think are, I wouldn't say a problem, hinder one's creativity from, and don't hold back. You've spoken about the schooling education.
Yeah. Well, I think that's exactly it, mate. Like I said, we're born and bred into a system to send us on a certain road, and I think it's just make sure that a young person is fully aware of their opportunities and options, and not that they've got to grow up and do a certain thing and be a certain way. So yeah, I think it's really important to just make sure that, like, accept every influence with open arms, but make sure that it's not guiding you to a certain destination that you don't want to be at, if that makes any sense.
So you're talking about awareness, really, Bethany.
Yeah. I mean, just making young people aware of the opportunities that are out there, instead of just making them think school, college, university. That's what you have to do. I know for when I was young, like, that was it. That was the option. It was either learn a trade or go to college and university. And that's the options you're given. That's the options that you're told are there for you. When really, there's thousands, millions. Like, you do anything. There's so many avenues you could take.
No, great, good answer, vast. Andy, I feel like you wanted to touch base on that one.
Right. What was the question again? I've lost track.
So what are the outside influences? You're watching it on his phone.
Oh yeah, that was it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the outside influences, I guess the majority of the influences are like just to play it safe, just to do what we've done, just don't do anything that we've not done, just because that makes us feel insecure about our choices. So just do everything we've done and don't be creative about what we do. I mean, that's a lot of the influences that seem to be there.
Pretty much, yeah. Poggy.
Yeah, can you remind me again? I was getting distracted as well.
With the phone. So what external influences are at play for creativity to be hindered for one's growth?
Well, yeah, I think like, it's just like, just as an example, the way I feel like my own creativity was hindered was through my conditioning growing up. So through my mum and dad, it was and I know lots of people can resonate with this, but there was a sense of like scarcity in lots of ways, money and things like that. And and it was just like their sense of like life is about suffering, it's about hard work, and it's about kind of, you know, just getting it done and kind of getting through it. And that was kind of like how I grew up, was with that mentality. But I always felt like I knew that, you know, I was creative, and I knew that that's kind of what I wanted to do. And I haven't necessarily created massive success with my creativity, but I've always had a very strong urge that I needed to do it. And so my whole life has been, up until this point, has been about kind of trying to disregard all that kind of conditioning that I grew up with, which was sort of all about sort of hardship and and kind of not really listening to yourself, but just kind of getting on with it and doing what you have to do, and sort of so it's kind of, my life's been about breaking that conditioning, and I feel like that hindered my creativity quite a lot, because it really dampened my self-esteem and made me feel like I wasn't important, my expression wasn't important, and I just had to kind of please other people and get on with stuff and get through life, and, you know, kind of get on the kind of system that everyone else is on, you know, like just making money and surviving, basically. That's kind of, so I think that's a hindrance. I hope that answers your question. I think that's the sort of, one of the hindrance to people's creativity is growing up to feel like they've just got to sort of survive, kind of thing, and do their best. And
definitely. Well, listen, guys, I'm going to re-invite you if that's all right, and share some more space. So if I do that now and upload, we'll get an extra 40 minutes. So apologies for the delay. It'll just be a few minutes, and I'll get you back on, all right?
Quickly drop out some while he's doing that.